Breaking news story at this hour is coming out of Limpopo, where more than 10 people have been killed and several others have been injured after what's being described as a horrific crash between a minibus taxi and a truck just outside Polokwane in the province. The minibus taxi, we understand, was carrying a group of cheaters. Transport authorities have confirmed the collision, saying, in fact, there are multiple fatalities. In other words, the final toll is yet to be confirmed. Watching developments at the scene is our reporter Pimani Baloi, who joins us now live for a sense of what else we know so far. And Pimani, because this accident took place just a few hours ago, I imagine there are still many unanswered questions, but have we at least been able to get a few more details around what might have happened?
Details are still very sketchy at this point in time. We don't even yet know the specific numbers in terms of how many people could have lost their lives. But as I was stating earlier, what we do know is that that minibus taxi was said to be ferrying about 14 people, including the driver, and that the truck only had the driver inside of it. Emergency personnel, I'm just going to step out of scene a little of this short, just a little. Emergency personnel are still working very hard. A bit earlier, we saw medical personnel going to the scene. We know that they are the ones who can declare fatalities. So we are not sure if the ambulances that we saw driving to the scene was to get people who might have survived that fatal crash, or if it was just for declaration, as jaws of life were being used to cut out the people out of that vehicle. But to get further details, I'm joined by the provincial police commissioner here in the province, Commissioner General Thembi Hadebe. General, information is a bit sketchy. We've seen a statement from the MEC's office saying over 10 people. Do we have any information yet in terms of how many people could have lost their lives here?
Bimani, as you have seen, the jaws of life entered the crime scene circle where we have condoned it, and some ambulances. It's for the purpose for them to check and make sure who is still at least breathing at this point in time. But those chances are very little at this stage. I may not say how many there are there, because both vehicles are trapped to one another, and we can see bodies lying on top of each other. Up until they take out the bodies from the wreckage, then we will be able to have the proper number. But so far what we know is that this the Kumbi that was carrying some of the officials of the Department of Education and some other department coming from Polokwane going to the Dendron site on the R521, which is 37 kilometers from Polokwane. We understand that it's normally carrying 15 passengers. At this point in time, we have the owner of the other truck, and the truck driver also passed on according to what we hear. And then we also have the owner of the taxi that was ferrying as a daily transport that they commute with, going to their different places of work.
Do we have clarity yet in terms of what might have happened? But also, I've seen relatives of people who usually use that mode of transport, specifically the taxi, asking they don't know what is happening. What assurance, where can they go after the scene is cleared? Where can these people go to find out if their loved one is involved and where their remains have been taken?
We have a team of investigators that are here at the crime scene. Immediately once the pathologists have removed the bodies, they will obtain their details, we'll converse with them, so that then we prepare that they can go for identification of their loved ones in one of the government mortuaries in Polokwane.
And clarity about what might have happened, is that something that we have yet?
Let's allow the investigation. It will be like we are predetermining what has happened. But I can tell you that this morning, the whole Polokwane, including this route, it was very misty, that you could not see the route very clearly. I think it might have been a contributing factor in a way. But at this point in time, we're just also waiting for those that have to do the motor vehicle investigation to check what has happened in both these vehicles that are involved in the accident.
Thank you so much, General Hadebe. That's General Thembi Hadebe from the SAPS here in Limpopo, saying police are working very hard. But as you can imagine, this is a very sensitive matter, particularly because there's families of people who've lost their lives, who've been trickling into the scene, trying to figure out what actually happened. There are people who know that their loved ones use this specific taxi on a daily basis to travel to work. So what we understand, Ayanda, is that they were traveling to work in Sinobarwana from Polokwane, and it seems they demised here. As the police were saying, it's not yet clear if there's survivors, and it's not yet clear just how many people have been involved. But what we do gather is that it's a 15-seater taxi and a truck driver, which the commissioner just confirmed that they have been declared deceased. Ayanda?
Wow, really devastating story at a time, of course, where many people are hoping for much better days ahead, given just how historic this week is for South Africans. But Phimani Baloyi, thanks very much indeed. A story very much developing and sharply on our radar. Phimani's live to us there from just outside Polokwane in Limpopo.